right, so in this question, we have to translate some compound statements into symbols and vice versa. So I'm going to do first a few examples going from English statement into symbols, and then look at how we translate symbols into English statements. Okay, so the first sentence, the first thing that you have to do is you have to identify the simple statements in your compound statement. So I see that statement P represents there's a fire in the fireplace, and statement Q represents the simple statement the house is cold. And so the first sentence, this whole phrase right there can be replaced with letter P, because P stands for there's a fire in the fireplace. Now the next sentence that I'm seeing is the house is not cold. So that is Q statement, but it's the negated Q, because Q statement is the house is cold. This statement right here is a negated version of that. And so for symbols, I do refer to, let me switch this out. So I am referring to the reference sheet. So right here. So this part right here, the reference sheet tells you how to translate each of the connectives, how to translate the negation and the other connective statements. That's what I'm using in this question. Let's see. Okay, let's try to fit that in onto the screen. Like so. Okay. Perfect. All right, and so ultimately, the translation was P so far, and not Q. Now, I'm saying that if and only if that corresponds to the double-sided arrow connective. So that means the two statements, the P and the negated Q, are linked together with the biconditional. All right, next. There's a fire in a fireplace, so that's P. The house is not cold, that's also not Q, so that's very similar to the first one, except the connective between them is now and so the symbol for and is the upside down V. Okay. And the next statement says there is no fire in the fireplace. That means that's a negated version of P. So negated P. The house is cold. That's just a Q statement, and then the connective between them is and. All right, now, okay, let's do one more, and then we'll go the other way around. So the fourth one is there's a fire in the fireplace. That's P. Or the house is not cold. So or, the symbol for that is the V symbol. And of course, the house is not cold is the negated Q. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Mm-hmm. All right. Now let's look at these. I don't think we've matched any of these just yet. So let's go ahead and translate now the other way, where we go from symbols into statement. So this first symbolic expression, first thing they have to recognize is that the single arrow, that's the conditional statement. And the tricky part about the conditional statement is that it puts the if keyword in front of P. So if the P starts the arrow, that means the if word comes in front of P, and then the then part goes in front of the negated Q. So this is what this means. So the arrow, in other words, can be changed into if P, then not Q. And now we're going to replace the P and not Q with the actual wording. So P is there's a fire in the fireplace. So if there's a fire in the fireplace, then the house is not cold. So that would be the translation of the first symbolic statement. So let me write that out. So if actually, let's not write it out. Let's match it since we have a match here. So there it is. If there's a fire in the fireplace, then the house is not cold. And notice they're not using the comma, which is fine. Right. The next symbolic representation, first thing that I'm seeing is that I have the double-sided arrow. So that means I'm going to be putting the if and only if wording between the negated P and Q. So the negated P would be there is no fire in the fireplace. So there is no fire in the fireplace if and only if the house is cold. So that would be, which one is that? That would be this one. There is no fire in the fireplace if and only if the house is cold. Let's just try one more. So C, once again, it is a conditional statement. So that means I'm going to be putting the if word in front of the Q because that's what starts the arrow. And I'm going to put the then keyword in front of the not P. So if Q, then not P. Now let's replace the P and the Q. So if the house is cold, then there's no fire in the fireplace because of that negated P. So we're actually making the opposite of P. So if the house is cold, then there is no fire in the fireplace would be the translation of this symbolic representation. Okay, hope this was helpful. Actually, let's go ahead and match them up just to check ourselves. All right. So there is a fire in the fireplace if and only if. So I'm looking for a double-sided arrow and the negated Q. So that's E. There's a fire in the fireplace and the house is not cold. So I'm looking for the and connective. That's D. D. There is no fire in the fireplace. So that's a negated P and the house is cold. So it looks like a G statement. There is a fire in the fireplace or the house is not cold. So that would be the or with the negated Q. H. If, so as soon as I see that keyword if, I know I'm going to be looking for just a one-sided arrow. And what starts the arrow is going to be there is a fire in the fireplace, which is P. So there's going to be P in front of the arrow. And then there's going to be negated Q. So that's A statement. There is no fire in the fireplace if and only if. So if and only if is a double-sided arrow. I'm negating the P. So that's a B statement. And once again, because of that if keyword, I know I'm going to be looking for a one-sided arrow. And so the house is cold is the condition, then there is no fire in the fireplace is the consequence. All right, and then the last one is F. Cool.